Hey, you, are you a cognitive miser? What the hell is that? Wikipedia says, in psychology, the human mind is considered to be a cognitive miser due to the tendency of people to think and solve problems in simpler and less effortful ways rather than in more sophisticated and more effortful ways, regardless of intelligence. Just as a miser seeks to avoid spending money, the human mind often seeks to avoid spending cognitive effort. Human beings are System 1 fast thinkers, which is to say they weigh up situations extremely rapidly, with gut feelings, intuitions, prior experience, perceptions, guesses, instinct, and so on. They are not System 2 slow thinkers, carefully weighing up many different factors and reaching a considered, rational, analytic, logical solution. System 2 thinkers are in a sense cognitively prodigal. They have so much cognitive capacity, they can afford to expend it on philosophy and analysis. The average person has no such cognitive capacity. System 1 thinking requires very little cognitive capacity, which is why it is so much more popular and common than System 2 thinking. Only smart people can engage in System 2 thinking. Susan Fiske and Shelley Taylor said, people are limited in their capacity to process information, so they take shortcuts whenever they can. Mathematics and metaphysics, the subjects that deal with concepts, reason, logic, universals, analysis, are all about System 2 cognitive thinking. Scientists are not into that. They are sensing types, which is to say they are System 1 types. They tune into concrete particulars only. They lack the cognitive capacity to consider concrete universals. These are unavailable to System 1 senses but not to System 2 intellect. Scientists are exceptionally anti-intellectual. They spend no time whatsoever challenging each other over the coherence of science. Philosophers are always at each other's throats, questioning everything. Scientists never do that. There are no scientific papers where scientists question the validity of the scientific enterprise itself. Such papers are inconceivable in science. And is not science therefore a faith? No faith ever questions itself. Scientists, unlike philosophers, never write papers trashing the papers of other scientists. Why not? It's because these people all belong to a tacit scheme, a conspiracy, never to show the public any in-house disagreements. They are terrified that if scientists publicly disagree, as philosophers do, science would be totally undermined, as indeed philosophy is. But this means that science has no intellectual integrity and that all difficult issues concerning the coherence of science are ignored. No scientist puts in any effort to make science intellectually robust. It's all, shut up and calculate. Rationalism, by contrast, does nothing but question itself since its goal is to achieve perfect, unassailable arguments. While any doubt or ambiguity exists, a rationalist thinker will always try harder and better. That never happens in science. Science accepts any number of bizarre hypotheses and theories for as long as they seem to accord with empirical data. Universals are about metaphysics and mind. Particulars are about physics and matter. Universals are about reason, logic, and deduction, conducted by the intellect. Particulars are about the senses and induction, and are anti-intellectual. Anyone obsessed with particulars will never say anything deep. You can be 100% assured of that. The universal worldview and the particular worldview are two drastically different takes on reality, one based on conceiving reality and the other on perceiving reality. One is about the intellect and the other about the senses. Smart people deal with universals. Stupid people gawk at particulars. Intelligence is about seeing what particulars have in common, not about seeing particulars. Should concepts be applied to percepts or percepts applied to concepts? Should universals be applied to particulars or particulars to universals? Is that even a question? Scientists imagine they are objective and clear-sighted. In fact, they are absolutely biased. They always privilege empiricism over rationalism and materialism over idealism, and their sole justification for this is their dogmatic ideology, in which they have total faith. Science is the mathematics of observed, particular patterns. Ontological mathematics is the mathematics of the unobserved patterns that give rise to all observed, particular patterns. What underlies all possible ontological, real patterns, 100% of them? Sinusoidal waves, the ontological universals. They are purely analytic. They are reflections of pure mind. Many ancients imagined that Plato's forms were actually God's basis thoughts, and all he had to do was combine these forms with matter, to bring his divine thought into contact with matter, to create the particulars of the world. Forms plus matter equals creation. God thinks form into matter, or sculpts form into matter, to create the world. In ontological mathematics, the basis thoughts of God, the collection of all monadic minds, are sinusoidal waves, and these are used to make everything. They are responsible for all particulars. To make any particular, all you have to do is combine the appropriate thoughts, basis sinusoids. Creation is a giant thought. Matter is a product of thought. The spacetime world of matter resides in the phase relations of sine and cosine basis waves. With the ancients talk of form and matter combinations, and with basis thoughts being all important in their system, the ancients actually got quite close to the truth of reality. Their general conception of reality was definitely superior to that of scientific materialism. Science says that reality comprises only matter. There is no form. There are no universals. Thought is a fiction, allegedly. Science says that unreal mathematics somehow forms real matter into sensory particulars. Impossible. Understanding reality requires immense philosophical knowledge, and scientists have no such knowledge. Philosophy forms no part of the science curriculum. No scientist is required to know anything about philosophy, and, boy, it shows. Can you imagine the arrogance of people who seek to explain reality, but see no need to know anything about philosophy, the great historical subject for understanding reality? Scientists are totally deluded about science and its intellectual value, robustness and coherence. They are unable to challenge the claims of science because they do not know how to do so.